What's up, everybody? So since I came back to Taiwan for about 6 months now, I've met a ton of new poker players all over the island, in Taipei, Taichung, central Taiwan, and also in Kaohsiung, down south. First off, thanks to everyone who has approached me and said hi to me in any of these events or tournaments that we met at. And also want to thank everyone out there who has personally reached out to me or left me a kind comment or message showing me some love, whether it's here on the channel or through other social media. And even if I don't respond or get to it, I do want people to know that I do appreciate every single message. And thanks for all the support. It does mean a lot to me. So since poker is still very new out here in Taiwan, there's a lot of newer players wondering about cash games. In fact, the poker questions I get the most are specifically revolving around cash game poker. While live cash game poker is currently prohibited in Taiwan, online cash is still unregulated and quite popular actually. But even then, a lot of players out here in Taiwan I've come across have little to no experience playing in cash games at all, and they're wondering how they can get their feet wet. So I've gathered some common questions that many people have asked me about cash games. Just keep in mind that my answer to these questions are based off my personal experience only, and you might have your own opinions based on your experiences. So I think this question depends a lot on personal preference and your schedule. There's going to be pros and cons for focusing on one or the other first. I think cash games allow for more flexibility. You can quit and start again whenever you like, while the structure in a tournament requires you to play until the tournament is finished or until you bust out. Some tournaments can be very, very time consuming depending on the structure. For me, I start off playing cash first, but I might recommend trying out tournaments first if you're completely new to the game, since I think overall tournaments are going to be easier to learn when you're first starting out in poker. You can play in some quick structured tournaments that don't require too much time, but I think once you're familiar with the game, I would definitely mix in cash games and then try to learn both. It's going to be better for the beginner to start off learning shorter stack poker first in tournaments, and then learning some more complex, deeper and multi-street situations that come up in cash games. In tournaments, you can probably just start off with sticking to the strongest starting hands, which is going to simplify a lot of your decision making in the beginning when you're first learning. But I would still recommend to definitely play both at some point to gather experience after starting off with some more affordable tournaments. So a lot of pros have given their guidelines on this. I think they say to have anywhere between at least 30 times up to 100 times your normal buy-in at the stakes that you're currently playing in. For me, I don't think there's a magic number. I think it's going to heavily depend on your personal comfort level. If you're constantly worried about not having enough money to sustain the variance at the game that you're playing in, then you're probably not ready. I think the best way I can probably put it is that if the monetary value of the bets in the game is affecting your decisions on the table, then you're probably not ready to play any bigger. But for me, I'll have to admit, I was actually very irresponsible with my money. I was quite reckless when I was first starting out in poker, and I was always tempted to play higher than what I could probably afford back then. I do strongly believe in taking high risks though, and like most people are going to tell you, you can definitely afford to take much more risks when you're younger. And I think forcing yourself out of your comfort zone is going to be the best way to learn, but obviously that's going to come with a price. So my answer to this is to play online. Obviously we're in the middle of a pandemic right now, and that's going to be the safest way to play anyways, wherever you are in the world. But I think online is also where you're going to be able to put in a high volume of hands quite easily. And it's also where you can find a bunch of different games and with different stakes and find one that's suitable for you. I would say to select a game size where it's still big enough for you to care about winning and losing, where you can still be making good decisions, but small enough where continuous and cumulative losses are not going to affect you. Obviously recognize that in the beginning you're going to be losing a lot, and if you never play cash, but that's where your learning is going to be coming from. Cash games are all about long-term consistency and making profit by making good decisions over and over. You're just going to have to put in the volume with no shortcuts. If you ask different players this question, you're going to get different answers. Some people are definitely going to tell you to watch the latest instructional videos, to join a training site, engage in group discussions, or ask the opinions of a poker player who you respect, but for me, the answer is always going to be to experience and accept losing, and then to think about your hands. There's just no amount of books, charts, or someone telling you what to do in every situation that's going to be better than actual first-hand experience of losing. And what I mean is making enormous mistakes, losing all your money and trying again. And then to think about why you lost, to think about what you could have done differently next time in that situation. You don't necessarily learn much when you win, compared to when you lose. And like anything in life, I think the pain of loss is what helps us learn. Naturally you're going to be thinking about how to improve when you lose in the game. And it's just going to be up to you whether you decide to keep going or give up when you lose. So the best way is to still make mistakes in the games you play in, to develop and refine a strategy that works for you to beat the games that you're playing in. That doesn't mean that you can't ask other players' opinions or watch videos, but I think it's more important to think through hands yourself first instead of looking for a magic formula which doesn't exist that tells you how to win. Also, I think it's important to just be honest with yourself. If you lost, it's actually really easy to just blame everyone but yourself. Whether it's blaming the other players, the dealers, or just plain bad luck, but I think, yes, sometimes it is just going to be bad luck, but some other times, if you're honest with yourself, you might be able to find something that you could have done differently. I know for me, I'm guilty of this as well all the time, losing a big pot and then just being too frustrated to want to admit to myself that I made a mistake. I think when facing challenges, our own mind can actually become our own worst enemies. So I hope this info has been helpful to everyone out there who has been wondering about cash games. And as always, feel free to leave a comment below. There's going to be more videos like this in the future around the different type of stuff that people ask me. And alright, thanks for watching, and see you guys next time.